Our guest tonight comes to us from the great state of California. And I can say that because I spent like 22 years there running for assembly. Miss Tanya Cook, please give a warm welcome, everybody, to our favorite TBH bestie. If you have any questions for the candidate, please request up. Before we get started, though, and we start taking questions from the village people, that's working title only, let's start off with a little icebreaker, if you will. And I always hated these things, but here we are. So I always ask this question this way, and somebody asked me the other day, why do you ask it that way? Well, you've heard of the straw that broke the camel's back, right? But we're not being hit with little straws. We're being hit with the actual camel. So tell me, what was the camel that broke your back that inspired you to run?
The election.
The last one in November?
Yeah, that was it for me. Like most of us, we went to bed crying, frustrated, fearful of what the future held, and then cried a couple days. And then I decided, you know what, that's it. I'm moving. We're moving. We're gonna sell the house. We're gonna move. I was looking at Canada. I was looking at this beautiful island, Curacao, beautiful. And then I think it was February. I said, no, this is my home. This is where my kids are. I'm going to stay here and fight for it. I've got, brown kids. I've got, a kid who has autism, who has chronic health problems. I have daughters. My kids are first generation, so it affects everybody in my household. I have a sister that's LGBT. I have a brother that's LGBT. I have a daughter that is as well. So it affects every aspect of my life, and I decided I can't just sit back and not do anything anymore, because something has to be done. I live in a community that tends to lean a little more blue, but it's been leaning a little more red, and we got an eye-opener in the last couple days over that incident that happened last week to see how my city reacted to it, and I was extremely appalled. And I know that some of these people that were rooting for it are on the other side, who've already said they're going to vote for me. So I decided not to battle them, to lose them vote, because I'm running unopposed as of right now, as the Democrat, but I'm running against a Republican incumbent who isn't very loud MAGA, but he doesn't. He tends to vote that way, and he doesn't speak up on like our immigration issues, which is the biggest thing we have going on right now is our immigration. And then obviously locally, I don't know if anybody will ask, but locally, I live 5 minutes from Disney. So we have a protest happening tonight, right outside Disney, that's from 7 to 9. So that affects us here too. I worked at the park for 8 years. And I was very proud of Michael Eisner to stand up to the current CEO to say something about what's going on. We need more of that. The Definitely. Disney company, I don't want to go off too much, but the Disney company was one of the first companies to offer same-sex domestic partnership health benefits. And to see where it has gone 25 years later, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And that's the temperature of our community right now. And it's very sad. It's very scary. When I thought we were looking at a blue tsunami, after last week, I'm a little bit nervous what's going to happen here, because there's some folks coming out of the woodworks that I didn't see going that direction.
Yeah, and it's kind of scary to see how the events of last week are going to change the trajectory of, where we were going. Because before, just about every election was heavily blue. All across the country. And it's going to be really interesting to see what happens now. So, yeah, terrifying. But we're in for the ride. We're here.
I'm in for the ride.
That's right. So you're running for assembly, and you'll have to forgive my ignorance, but usually when people run, like they say they're running for office, people assume that it's for something like Congress or Senate or something that's more popular in the limelight. What made you choose to run for assembly, and what does an assembly person do?
when I was deciding what office I wanted to run for, I actually ran into our Congressman Derek Tran back in February and March, right after he won a historic election, very expensive election against Michelle Steele by, I believe, 600 votes. Ran into him and we got to talking, and I hadn't quite decided what seat I wanted to run for. And so we put our heads together, and this was the seat that he had recommended. And he was right. This is the seat, because I don't want to run for Congress. We've got a solid Democratic team there. And I don't want to go on and step on toes when there's obviously there's also the popularity. So I would not do well. Running at this level, historically, there's always been one Democrat running in the general election, and typically in primary as well. So that makes it kind of an easy pass.
Did we lose your mic? I think we lost your mic, Tanya.
Is it back?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Good. Okay.
Sorry.
It's all right. Are you there?
We're gonna go on. Yeah, I went on D&D. Sorry.
It's okay.
So how do I get that back? I lost it.
There we go.
We're back. Okay, sorry.
That's all right. We're all learning together. It's fine. It's fine.
So like you brought up Congress. So we've got the nationwide team of folks that sit and vote in the White House. Well, every state has their own little White House, and so we have the state level Congress, if you will. So I would be running at the House level, not at the Senate level.
Right.
So I'm running at sorry, my son just got home. So I'm running at, got a lot going on, at the state level, and we help push the laws through for our state. We also have the ability to block laws coming through. I'm very proud our state assembly here just passed the no mask bill for our cube agent. Very, very,
That's
very
wonderful. That's wonderful.
That's huge. So it's a step in the right direction, because here it's a big problem. And so I'm really proud of them. So here at my level, once I'm in office, I'll be able to go over the bills that come across the desk, vote on them accordingly, and voting on my constituents, on what would represent them the best way.
Awesome. So can you tell me how an assembly member is different from a city council member?
Okay, so your state assembly is going to be your state legislation versus your city council. That would be your city legislation.
Awesome. Okay. So what kind of I know every state is different, right? What kind of paperwork do you need to fill out, or is there certain requirements that you have to meet in California in order to run for this?
So that I had to figure out on my own. I know I've talked to Bernard on many occasions on stuff like this, is that here they don't tell you what the process is. You have to figure it out on your own. So after doing a lot of research, I discovered that the documents that I had to submit, obviously there's some financial documents that have to be submitted for your banking in order to get your bank account going before you can accept any donations, and then your organization of your candidacy. So for mine, it's Cook for Assembly 2026. That has to be filed as well. And in order to be on the ballot, we have two different ways to get on the ballot. One is to be nominated by your local Cal Dems and your Democratic parties. For one, I don't have an issue with that because I'm the only candidate running for my seat. But in the next city over, Huntington, there's 4 candidates that are running for that. So they are going to decide which candidate's going to go onto the ballot.
Got it. Awesome. Okay, so let's dive into another question while we are waiting for our first victim, guest to come up and ask a question. Would you mind giving us a little synopsis about what you feel should be front and center in this election cycle? We are getting hit by a million things a million times a day, and we're expected to absorb all of them all at once, all the time. So, what do you feel like is your laser focus issue that you're running on?
Immigration, and women's rights. But immigration, because of my community, I've got in our community alone, it's 39% Latino and 38% Asian. So it is a very high populated, immigrant community. And everybody is affected. It's not just our residents, it's our businesses, our schools are being affected by it. We have a phenomenal school district here that has made it very clear that nobody is allowed on campus. So that's fantastic, but not all the cities in my district are on the same page. My district is actually my city here, our school district here is working hand in hand with Orange County Rapid Response, but not all of the cities are. I do have a sliver of Huntington Beach, which you're familiar with, but Huntington is the Schnatzy capital of California, I would say.
And thank you so much for using TikTok safe language. I really appreciate that.
So yeah, immigration is my number one issue to run on right now.
I think that's great. It's such a huge issue right now, and a lot of people, especially a lot of people on the right, don't understand how valuable the immigration population is in our country, from not only a cultural standpoint, but also an economic one. So I think that it's really good that more people are standing up for what's happening to them. It's terrible.
I want to say thank you, and I apologize. My house is usually quiet right now.
Oh, no.
My ex-husband's here. My youngest son, who's usually in school, is home. My oldest, who's usually not here at the moment because he lives in San Diego, is here. We had a dog run out the door. I had another dog barking. So
it's just like all the things happening right now. Ah!
Hello, how are you? How is
Hey,
everybody?
Bacon.
I'm good. Hello. Tanya, I'm gonna right straight to it. Since you said your whole campaign, your whole running on is immigration, what what specific in immigration would you concentrate on? Like, for example, right now, immigration in our state is being attacked by the ice cream people, especially in southern and a little bit on our side on the northern border, in the northern side. So I'm in northern, so I want to ask you, what would you concentrate on? What you would ask for our legislation to concentrate on about the ice cream people and the immigration part? First question.
That's a great question because if you don't know California well enough, California is extremely blue, not just population, but as far as seats that are held right now, it is extremely blue. I believe we only have like 8 or 9 red seats. And keeping that in mind, they're still not protecting our community. They're not protecting our state. They're not protecting our residents like they should be. I know it's very difficult because cities have their own like legislation, I guess, their own rules, their own guidelines. I can tell you, like Santa Ana, it's in my district. Santa Ana is hitting some hard walls with their current mayor right now. And their current mayor is kind of fighting against the city council, and the city council is trying to stop ice cubes from coming in. And so there's this battle that's happening between your internal city council versus what's happening at the county level and the state level. And there's a lot of chirping voices from your, I wouldn't say your groomed politicians, which I am not, and they're only answering to the upper and not listening to their constituents. There are several city council members that are still fresh, that are fighting really hard to protect their communities. They're not being heard and they're being fought against. And so I believe bringing in your grassroots candidate is going to make a big difference, because we're not paid by APAC. We're not here to answer to APAC. We're not here to answer to your big corporates. We're not here to answer to casinos. We're not here to answer to that. We're here to take care of our communities. So I believe that once we get your APAC folks out, first we have to get the red out, and then we've got to get the APAC out, so that we're doing what we're supposed to do. We're hired and paid by the community to take care of them. I'm not going to be, I'm not paid by, or won't be paid by, the casinos. I'm not going to be paid by big corporation. It's going to be the community that voted me in, and I'm their voice. Right now we're at the start of it. I'm starting to see some of our newer freshmen, and our freshmen in Congress are having a really tough time, because I've talked to them. They're having a tough time against your seniors that have been in there for a very long time. They're struggling to have their own opinion, to have their own vote, and that's not a democracy. And bringing in your grassroots, we're going to fight together to bring back democracy.
Thank you for that, and I'm gonna pivot a little bit to the disabled community because I was part. I just read last night I read an article, and I already put it on the Discord. This Trump administration cut off grants for the deaf and the blind for education. And I want to know, what will you do as an assembly member? What would you suggest to our leaders to protect especially the education, special education, and our disabled community with like employment protection and equality protection as well.
I can say at least here in California, we're pretty, it's a little bit different. We're our own little country over here.
I'm so jealous.
So I can say that at least at the state level, as of right now, all of that's still protected. I have a son who's on, he's got an IEP and a 504. He's on the spectrum, but he's like Sheldon Cooper. He's got an IQ 165. But he's got chronic health problems. And so my fear is the same thing, is when those federal funds start getting cut, how is it going to affect him? I am eternally grateful that I have Governor Newsom. If you had asked me 6 months ago, I wouldn't have said the same thing. But I'm grateful that we have him, because he's done a really good job. So for that question, it's really hard for me to answer, just because it's already protected here. But if it wasn't protected, I would fight tooth and nail to protect. I've got a brother-in-law who's one of my favorite people on the planet, had a stroke as a baby, and he's got limited use. He's fully functioning. He has limited use of his extremities, and he's a phenomenal human being. And I couldn't imagine him losing what benefits he has, and what it would do to him. The same thing like with my son, being right now he's in school full time, but with his disabilities and his health, he has the ability to stop going to school full time and attending a virtual. So he did a hybrid last year. And that is something that our state provides. So we are blessed in that. So here, that was a tough question for us here, just because we are so safe on that.
No, right? It's like,
I know.
But,
I keep telling Tabitha and Missy they need to come here.
I said, you moved out in California, Missy.
Yes.
Anyways, I'm just kidding. Anyways, but thank you for answering my question.
Thank you. Yeah, no, we're so lucky to be here. At least on the West Coast, and that's Oregon and Washington too. They're pretty much just as safe as we are here, but it's scary times, and I can't imagine. I know listening to Caress with her daughter's first day of school, how frightening that was. I can't even imagine what it'd be like for my kids to go into a classroom and having the Ten Commandments and Bibles in the classroom and it being a public school. That's mind blowing to me.
And that's mind blowing. I mean, thank you, Jess. Thank you for having me, and I'm just dropping for a year out.
Of course. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Bacon. Yeah, Caress is my neighbor. You know, she's like 2 towns over from me.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I moved here from Sacramento, so why I did that.
Sorry.
But I keep telling people, you know, here's the thing. The West Coast is like, we love you guys. You're doing exactly what you need to be doing to fight and to try to make things better for everybody, right? I'm in a very, very, very red place. But I keep thinking that I may be part of the reason that this place finally changes to represent the people that live here.
Yeah.
You know, like I get to help vote Ted Cruz out of office. And that is freaking awesome.
No, that's
So,
awesome. I mean, and your state is blue. Your state, as voters, registered voters, is blue.
yeah.
But when you cut off people from going to the polls, it becomes a problem. And I'm really excited that my daughter, who just turned 18, will get to vote her first election in November for gerrymandering. Yay!
Oh, thank goodness. I was actually going to ask you about that, how you feel about that. And
I'm excited. Yeah. And I'm actually excited because, we know Texas screwed up on that one because they think they gained 5, but they might have lost more than they thought.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And
I keep telling people Texas is first, but your state is next. So, I mean, if Trump...
I'm excited. I'm very proud that my governor did it the way he did. He could have been petty. He could have been very petty, but he took the high road and said, you know what? Nope, I'm going to let my state vote on it. And I guarantee it'll be a landslide.
He leaves his petty on his social media, and I am so here for that. Like,
his social media gal is phenomenal.
Yeah, like I want her to work for every Democratic person out there. We need more snark. We really do. So, yeah, okay. So, aside from this moment right here, of course, what has been your favorite moment on the campaign trail?
Our campaign trail has been kind of slow, at least here on this side, because we need money to get going. But I would say, I don't know exactly how I got to this point, but somewhere around the time I decided to run, I got somehow connected into this coalition group that kind of faltered. But in the process, I have made amazing friends and a great community along the way. So that has been the best part of it so far is, if I'm feeling down, I know I can come in and log in and there's always something, upbeat. And now I did go and create a personal TikTok page so I could totally stray away from politics because I had to have a break free from it because I can't just keep scrolling and just seeing. And like you said earlier, there's so much to keep up on. And they're doing it to exhaust us, and it's exhausting. My daughters and I talk about it all the time, and I genuinely were rubbing our heads all day long. It's this, like, I don't know, like, how much more we can mentally take and how much we can keep up. I mean, now they they want to take women's rights to have credit cards away, That was very silently an EO that's going to go for voting. And we don't control the House. We don't control the Senate. We don't control anything. So, I mean, we can laugh all we want, but it's a nervous laughter.
It is.
But I will say that there was a bunch of comments that said, so they take away our rights to have credit cards, or taking our debt too, right? So um, that's the
Yeah.
only humor we can find in it. It's very frightening times for all of us. And I have to have an outlet, so I have to go to my personal one to scroll just for humor and whatever else is on there.
Little kitten videos and things that'll
Yes,
bring up the serotonin levels a little bit.
yes.
I feel ya. I mean, exactly, Rebel. We have to laugh to keep from crying. And that is exactly the point. Like, they want us to be paralyzed with fear so that we don't do anything to combat it. So just keep that in mind and find your cute kitty videos, because as long as we have them, they might take those away next.
They might
I don't
take
know.
those away. I don't know. It's absolutely mind-boggling, and it's literally happening right in front of our face, and
Yeah.
there's nothing we can do. I battled with a gal this morning on the Book of Faces, over
You're braver than me.
the Jimmy Kimmel thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where she got her info. She goes, well, he lied about the pew-pewing. And I'm like, girl, I think you got your people completely confused, because that wasn't even the situation. And then she went off on some random tangent. I go, oh, how do we get out of this? This is what we're up against. And it's frustrating because I have to very politely battle these people, because these are the people that are voting,
Yeah.
the community.
Yeah.
So, and I don't need them to go off and say, oh, she's rude and nasty, because I have secure votes on the other side. Lucky for me that there are folks on the other side who don't like the incumbent. So,
Yeah. But I think it presents a bigger challenge for you, because there's so many people who are presenting misinformation as fact, and they stand on that 10 toes down, and there's no talking them out of it. So I can imagine, as somebody who is trying to convince people why you would be the better candidate, how that would be difficult.
I don't even know how we got here. And when I look back, I go, I can't even believe it's been like 10 years since this whole thing started. And that 10 years went by in a flash. But, it started off as what was a joke. And now, skip ahead a couple terms, and we're heading into Gilead. And it's absolutely frightening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's scary now. Will we have midterms? No.
I mean, he's going to have to do something very, very extreme in order for that to, because they're run by the states, right? So even if he completely canceled, let's like explore this for a second. If he were to actually cancel those championships, right? They're run by the states. So that means the only states that would be having one of those championships would be the blue states. And I don't see how that would benefit him. So he's probably going to try.
I know on the 2028 championship, the Cal exit will be on the ballot.
Really? They've been trying to get that on the ballot for...
The last thing I heard was like 6 months ago is that will be on the big one.
Wow, that's huge.
In a heartbeat.
I think a lot of Californians would.
Yeah, we're perfectly fine. We are fine financially. We come out on the bottom right now, even though we're number 4th in the world. But we actually are losing money on it, because we fund the red states, and then the federal government funds us back, but it's not a break even.
No, you guys are getting like 68 cents to the dollar or something.
So if we were to pull out of that, we would be moving up the ranks.
Can you give us a little bit of information on what Cal Exit is? There may be some people in the chat that have I'm from California. I know what that is. We're speaking the same language. But there may be some people who are like, Cal what?
Yeah, so it's been in talks for, oh my gosh, decades maybe. I don't know. There's been chirping of it where California breaks from the rest of the U.S. There's been talks of just California. There's been talks of the West Coast being the three states. There's been talks of it for a long time, and I did see that it's supposed to be on the ballot on the championship. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
2028. Because
Wow.
a lot of people, for whatever reason, don't seem to like California. For whatever reason, that's their loss. Now, I don't like our weather right now, but climate
Yeah,
change isn't real, though. It's been 80% humidity for like 2 months.
it's a hoax.
I'm over the humidity.
Uh,
Florida needs to come take their humidity back.
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm. It's in
but
my yard.
yes, it's so awful. Come get your humidity.
Yeah.
But I think it would, I mean, it would be devastating to the rest of the US if we were to exit, but it's kind of a petty little thing that do we really want to be a part of the rest of the US? We pretty much have our own little world over here, anyways. We have the fourth best economy in all of the world, not the US, in all of the world. And without us, all those little red states are struggling. Now, I want to help take care of these red states, but they're the ones fighting it. They don't want it because they're not understanding that the money comes from California.
Nope.
With federal aid, it comes from California.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be funneled somewhere. And without us, then, I don't mind. I don't mind having, our own little country here. I just don't know. Do we get our own passports? Like, do we get our own president? Like, what happens?
I mean, you guys can design a whole new flag. There's
Right.
so many amazing things you'll be able to do. So fun. Love this for you guys. Super jelly, by the way, take me
Yes,
back.
Susan. Susan needs to move here too. All of you.
Yeah, I mean, we just need to get a big compound, like I'll grow vegetables and talk into a microphone. I don't know what everybody else is offering, but that's what
That
what
works.
I'll offer.
Absolutely.
So, can you tell me what
Nice.
Tabitha's going to make us some sourdough? That's what she's going to do.
Oh, good.
I love it. Okay, so tell me what the term limits on what your term is for an assembly member, and how do you feel about term limits going forward?
Absolutely. So it's 2-year terms and three term limits. So the incumbent is in his second term. So the next time around, it will be his third attempt, but he'll be gone. So that I've already decided that. And then I absolutely, with the exception of Bernie, I absolutely believe in term limits and age limits. I think Bernie's the only one that's got his head still on straight,
Yeah.
and still fighting the good fight as he has. Never swayed from his fight from his youth. But the rest of them, and that's why, like, if we go back to like what Bacon was saying about the immigration and the ADA, it's those seniors that have been in there that won't budge.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you do term limits, they're too comfortable where they are. They don't really care. They know they're gonna win the next election. But when you give them term limits, that means their time is up. They got to go. We need to move on. Time for change. And we need change because a lot of them have been in there for decades.
Did
And
you
they
see
have
Sorry,
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was gonna say, and they have the old way of thinking. Some of them are getting up on some of that modern stuff, but they still think the old ways. And that's not where we're living today. We're not living in the 70s or the 80s
Yeah.
or the 90s.
Did you see that interview with Mitch McConnell?
Recent? No.
So it's a recent interview of Mitch McConnell, and he's standing at a podium, and a reporter asked him if he plans to run again, and he must have some cognitive sort of cognitive failure in his old age because he just stood there and looked like a deer in headlights. His handler had to come up and like kind of walk him off the stage because
That
he,
happened like a year and 2 years ago. Like it's happened several times where he's
yeah,
gone into a zone where it looks like he's having a stroke.
yeah.
And I know he already said he's not running another term. He said he was done.
Well, that's good. That's comforting because I think that if you can't fly a plane, you shouldn't be running for like you should not be in government if you cannot legally fly a plane. That's, I mean,
If you can't complete one full sentence from capital to period
yes.
without weaving 15 times.
And that, yes, that also applies to our current Cheeto in chief. So,
Yeah,
yes.
that's exactly where I was going. I was thinking of the Australian reporter. It's a prime example. The Australian reporter asked a simple question and he started to answer it. And then he looks and goes, "Where are you from?" And then he went into ballroom. Like, you're like, or not ballroom. He went into, "Well, I'm going to tattle on you." And then he went off like on a whole nother tangent. And you're like, wait, I'm going to tell my mommy that you're being mean when he asked one simple question.
Yeah.
It,
He's the amount of just glazing that is being done to protect him, I just don't understand. I will never understand for the life of me. So, okay, cool. So let me ask another question. I think the people in our, I think the guys in our comment section, all of our lovely, wonderful village people are super shy. Either that or I'm doing a fabulous bang up job of asking all these questions. Surely you guys have some questions in the chat. If you do, please request up and we'll put you in a box and you can ask your questions to Tanya. She's fantastic, super nice. Yeah, Rajil, you can definitely ask if you're on PC. That's totally fine. No question is off limits here. You could even ask about pasta, which we established is one of Tanya's favorite foods. So,
I figured it out.
yay!
I was like, how do you request on PC? Because my phone's doing the other thing.
Got it.
Tanya, as someone who works in logistics quite a bit, California's ports are kind of on the harder end to get through, even though they're some of the largest ports in the world. What can you do on a state level to help fix that?
That's actually a good question. And I'm going to be brutally honest, I don't have an answer for that. I'm not an expert in all areas, and that's why we have experts in all areas. I don't know, like health and, science experts. But I can say, I know our ports here, we tend to run into a lot of backups in the middle of the Pacific where the cargo ships are just sitting there for long periods of time. And I unfortunately don't have answers to that, but that's a really good question that I would actually like to find out. And I'm glad you asked that because not something I'd even considered because that's not a typical everyday question that you get. That's outside of the box, and I love that. I know right now we're dealing with a really serious situation that just happened last week. If you guys didn't see, we had a little domino effect on one of our cargo ships. And I think 100 containers landed into the water.
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. Just crazy.
It's crazy. It doesn't matter which angle you watch it at. It's absolutely insanity. And then watching it in slow motion is like, it's crazy how it happened. But I do have a few friends that work down on the port. So those would be questions that I would love to ask them. One just retired from being one of those ship captains. So he's been doing it for like 40 years. So that would be a great question. I would love to bump heads with him on that one because I don't have an answer to that. It's such a great question.
And another question for you that might be a little bit out of the box. California has a huge tech sector. And what would be the best way of preserving California's dominance in that tech sector?
It's a good question. I think it's pretty protected right now. I would think, because that whole little area, what's it called? It's over by San Francisco, isn't it? What's that? What's it called?
Silicon Valley.
Yeah, Silicon Valley.
Yep.
They have their own little world over there, and I think that they're pretty safe there. I haven't heard of anything of them moving out of there, but I do know that they have their own little world there that it's hard to get into. It's like your Bezos and your Zuckerbergs that are all there. I haven't heard of them leaving, so I don't have an answer to that one either. But that's another really good question. I think if we were to Cal exit, they might stay here as well, because that would mean if they were shipping products into another country, they would have tariffs on that, and that would be something they would have to consider.
Oof, that's true.
Okay, I mean, those are my two questions. Thanks, Tanya.
We'll have to I'm going to look into those because I appreciate those. Good questions outside of the normal box.
See,
Yeah.
this is why we keep Regiel around. One of the great many things. You're so smart, making
I do
us
the
all
boring
look
stuff,
bad. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to drop you down. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we have our dear, wonderful friend Susu. Hello, my dear.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you? All
Good.
right.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. So I guess I'm thinking more about the climate that's out there right now in terms of free speech and watching what they're trying to do right now. The FCC is threatening people to take away licensures, and the guidelines for that are pretty strict, that they can't do that without some real evidence of foul play, so to speak. But how do you think, or what are some things that you think California could do toward helping to protect its citizens' free speech?
That's so scary too right now.
It is.
Absolutely frightening. Trying to go head to head with people this morning over what was said, and there's folks over here on the other side of the aisle who are saying, oh well, freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences, and their employer can let them go. So on that, let's talk about that one particular person that had a contract as a comedian and was doing that job in particular, and now has been permanently suspended for doing what their contracted role is, and now getting persuaded by somebody in a big house on the East Coast who is persuading the FCC, who's pushing it down onto your monopolies.
Well, the other thing to remember too, the FCC is holding a approval over their head
Yes.
for
I was
them
gonna go
to
there
be
next.
able
Yes.
to go outside of
Yes.
the normal FCC guidelines for the number of stations you can have.
No, I'm glad you said that because I was going to go there next. So there's more than meets the eye there, because what people are seeing on the surface isn't what's really happening. There's more that's deeper behind the scenes, because there's a bigger contract that's sitting there in like FCC's hands right now. There's a bigger picture on the back end of it, and that's very frightening to me, that they have that much control over what's happening. And the FCC,
Well, they're using the FCC to get what they want,
Yep.
rather than, I don't know. Anyway, I mean, it was the same thing with CBS.
Yes, and it's the same thing with all of these federal agencies, the FBI, everything. They're being controlled by the White House, when that's not how it works. There's no checks and balances. Like, there's absolutely no checks and balances happening with the FCC right now. Nothing. And I did read that Jimmy Kimmel is going to be suing, and he has every right to, because to me that is breach of a contract.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Because it's not a termination because he has a contract. I know it's just
He was suing today. I don't know if that's true.
I saw it briefly this morning, but I want to look more into it. But the way he's being treated right now, I would think that would be a breach of contract, in my opinion. I'm not a legal expert, but that's just absolutely mind-blowing that a comedian doing his job as a comedian didn't even make it was an observation.
Yeah.
It wasn't even inflammatory. Like, it was just
blatant. It was blatant. Like, see how he responded? And it was it. Like, the video spoke for itself. It was like, I can't. And it's, again, we're just going to smile and laugh over this because it's so...
You gotta laugh to keep from crying.
It wasn't even that. Exactly. It wasn't... I don't even know. But yet the folks on the right, I think they're hearing something completely different. Like I said, because I've got them over here saying, oh, well, his ratings dropped like 17 million. I don't even know what they mean by that. And that he lied about the pew-pewing. Like,
What?
Here, I don't even know where you're even getting this information from, because if you actually watch the video that caused this, there's nothing in there. There's nothing, and there's nothing derogatory. It was, oh, look, he's moved on quickly. Look, ballroom.
I think that...
Well, the other thing is he can actually tie the FCC approval for ABC in paper somewhere, in some, something like that.
Yeah.
The FCC chair should be impeached and fired.
1,000%. I mean, with more than half the cabinet. But honestly, he's been talking about getting the axe on Kimmel and Myers and Colbert and Fallon and all of them since he started. This was just the reason to do it. I don't even think that it would have mattered. He just used it as the reason.
I heard he's going after The View next.
Yeah.
And that's where we go with the NK country. We're heading clearly, we're not going to be able to, all of our TV is going to be controlled with what we can watch. And that's what they're trying to do. It's P2025 right in front of our eyes. And it's happening so fast.
Which means our internet will be controlled too.
Correct.
Oh, yeah. That's coming.
Yeah.
All right, I'll step down and let Neil take a turn here.
Thank you, Susu.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
You can stay. Well, it's not my show, so.
Hey, Neil. How's it going, friend?
Hello. Good evening. Good evening.
Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Hey, Tanya. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. All things considered. So I have 3 questions. One from my 30 plus years of doing political consulting. The second from a policy perspective, policy perspective, and the third is a possible question.
Wait, hold on one second, Neil. Hold on one second. Motorcycles going by. Sorry. Okay, you're all good. Go ahead.
So I'll ask the possible question last because that's the most important. So from a consulting / campaigning standpoint, what have you, as you've been kind of crisscrossing the district, getting to know your future constituents, trying to navigate campaign life and the balance and things like that, as a candidate, what have you found while you've been knocking on doors, while you've been talking to your future constituents? What have you found the most intriguing about your soon-to-be state assembly district that you didn't know before?
That's actually a good question. I brought it up just a little bit earlier. Just because the way, the temperature has been across the U.S., it's red or blue. There's almost no in between, and both sides have been voting down ballot. A couple months ago, I attended our State of the City address with our mayor. Our mayor is on the other side of the aisle, but she also reached out to me and says, you know what, we're still women. We're going to run, we're going to support each other here. But being at that event, talking to people on that other side of the aisle was enlightening to see that a lot of them actually do not care for our current state assemblymen on their side of the aisle. And they just kind of voted with their party. But like you said, when you get out and you start talking to them, like, oh, it's you, I know you. We're in the chamber together. We do all these events together with the city. So that made a big difference of knowing some of these people for the last few years that I've been in the chamber and out at these other events. Like, oh, you're running? Oh, you have my vote. So knowing that it's not completely solid red on that side, but I've also have a big, big, big obstacle, and we have yet to figure out how to break into that. And it's probably going to be the make it or break it. It is our Viet community. It used to be the largest Viet community in the U.S., and now it's the second largest. It is a very, very large, tight-knit community, and the older boomer generation, and you're probably my age, tend to vote red. The younger ones that are coming in are voting blue, but they are very tight, and they have their own TV, stations, their radio stations, and that's what they listen to. So you have to knock hard on their doors, but a lot of them don't want to open their doors because they're so stuck in their ways. So that's something that we've really come across as an obstacle. And we think that once we start breaking into their events, and I don't mean that in a bad way, I mean starting
yeah, obviously not.
yeah, like getting into their events and getting to know them. And we just had a very, very large community event a couple months ago celebrating our Vietnamese culture here, because they, I think it was 50 years ago, is when they first started coming here from Vietnam. And they first stop was Phoenix, and then Santa Ana was the next stop. And then they all pretty much migrated to Westminster and Garden Grove. And it was a big event to recognize them and to celebrate them. And it was nice to talk to that community. So it's just a hard one to get into, but once you start getting your feet into Little Saigon, it gets a little bit easier. But that's my biggest obstacle, is getting into that community.
Okay. And then in the interest of time and wanting to get to Luke's question, I'll ask my possible question next, and forgo my second question. So my second most important pasta question is, how do you feel about pappardelle noodles in spaghetti?
Well, I couldn't quite hear you. What was it? Oh, we dropped you. Sorry. I fell. Sorry.
No, it's okay. How do you feel about pappardelle noodles in spaghetti?
Oh, okay. What kind of noodles?
Pappardelle noodles. They're a little thicker. They kind of hold the sauce a little bit better.
Oh, interesting.
Your normal spaghetti noodles.
I'm an angel hair pasta.
Okay, angel hair. Okay. Yeah, you definitely should try.
I like angel hair pasta because it takes less time.
That's
true.
Then I highly recommend organic pappardelle noodles, because they al dente really quick.
Okay.
Probably faster than angel hair. So you might want to try those.
I'm gonna try that.
Cavatappi this year, because I know we've been saying it for a long time in my house that we're going to do Teeny's mac and cheese at some point. And so we've got the cavatappi pasta here, because they ran out of it last Thanksgiving and last Christmas. So we've already got a couple boxes of it. We're going to try it. So I will have to let you know how bad it turns out.
Yes, let me know. I'm excited.
Got to make a video about it, because I want to know too.
Oh, I will. Definitely.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Neil. Do you have any other questions for Tanya tonight?
No, Jess, you can let me down. That's fine.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming up. All right. Always welcome, friend. Hey, Luke.
Hello. How are we doing?
Hello. How are you?
Doing all right. Taking it a day at a time in this hectic of a country we have. Um,
Never a dull
um,
moment.
so I have a very tiny rant, and then it's gonna be my main question. So with the main points, that Tanya had brought up with um, of like the press, um, asking him about like whatever it was, and then him transitioning to like the ballroom and whatever that he claimed that people have been wanting for over 100 years. I'm like, first of all, like Dick Van Dyke has been living a longer life, and he would say that's bullshit. And um and God bless that man's soul. I love him to death, or unalignment.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and but and like because of that dumb ballroom, he's destroying nature as it is because he's digging up a 200-year-old tree with the White House or something. And we know that when it comes to the point of logic, MAGA is very uncomfortable with that. But with the logic of like climate change and everything, like when the planet does better, so does human rights, and so do people's lives. And so like is your when it comes so my question is, with improving climate change, does that involve um improving like the production of electric cars? Because like I know that the fossil fuel industry is not going anywhere anytime soon, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up, just because my son and I had that conversation last night about the White House, and I was getting heated as we're having this conversation. It wasn't him getting heated, it was me, because I was getting frustrated as I was telling him, to the point where my daughter texted me, "Who are you talking about from us?" Because I was getting loud enough to where she could. I said, "Trump, of course." I said, they it's so infuriating that they destroyed the beautiful rose garden the first time around, and then it kind of came back, right? And then, nope, let's just plow it out completely, put in some concrete, the day paradise, put in a concrete, is what comes to mind every time. They
Put in a parking lot.
Yes, and it's stuck in my head all the time.
Mhm.
So it's infuriating that they did this to an iconic garden that was decades and decades and decades old, that the Kennedys put their heart and soul into, and it was beautiful. And every presidential staff that went in there continued to care for it. Didn't matter what side of the aisle they were on. And this buffoon comes in here and he just rips it out, puts in concrete and patio tables. I was getting really heated on that, because you took out trees and bushes and roses that are really good for our ecosystem,
And
and
they're a part of our history.
part of our history.
Yeah, yeah.
Now adding a ballroom, you don't need, nobody wanted a ballroom.
No.
And now I can't, and it's costing us, but we
Oh,
can't feed, side tangent, we can't feed our homeless and can't feed our children. We can't, take care of our veterans, but you know what? Let's just go ahead and put in a ballroom that everybody's wanted for 100 years.
It's definitely giving let them eat cake.
Yeah,
know?
like literally.
It's so infuriating, because and what you brought up is a complete different side than what most people are talking about, is the actual climate that's involved in it, because that's a really good example that you bring up. For one, nobody knows what's in the soil. And I'm going to bring this up on an example. A couple of years ago, there was a terrible, tragic accident that happened in my aunt's backyard. It was a high-speed pursuit where the driver of the truck hit an innocent vehicle, and all of the people perished, but the truck landed in my aunt's pool, through her wall and into the pool, and it cracked the bottom of the pool. Luckily, it was slated to be demoed the week before for a brand new pool, and luckily it hadn't. because then the city ended up having to pay for her new pool because the police were involved in this pursuit. But when they dug up her pool, it became a problem because of what was in the soil just from the vehicle cracking the concrete of the pool, the bottom of the pool. So and that's only something short term, right? You've got,
Yep.
so you're going to be breaking ground on land that's been there for what, 200 years, and you have no idea what's in that soil.
Exactly.
So what, when they go to break ground, at least out here, they have to do all of the environmental checks. I cannot promise you that's going to happen over there.
Yeah, honestly, and also I'm I'm also on the autism spectrum as well, so I get the gist and everything. And some of my hyperfixations are like White House history and all that jazz, and also like the paranormal world and whatnot. And I had read that I I can't remember if it was Jackie Kennedy or like Abigail Adams or someone, but they're known to haunt the Rose Garden, and whoever touches it, like I hope that Trump is living his worst nightmare. Only because of his ego. That he had to put on a slab of cement over something that unfortunately never did anything to him.
Yeah, I don't, and it's again back to being infuriating.
Thanks, Naomers.
I don't comprehend the pettiness of anything he does, but of ripping out a beautiful rose garden to put in concrete. You're telling me there's nowhere else on the property to put tables, or put tables, I don't know, on the grass? I don't know. It just baffles me because that garden has been used for various events for decades. And now if you get a special invite from the White House, you can go and sit on that patio.
Yeah, honestly, I'm honestly, I'm like, yo, yeah, like Trump, yo, dude, have you ever thought of a picnic? Have you ever thought of blankets on the grass? I don't care if you, because like your pants are already messed up, get grass stains on it, I don't care. But yeah.
And it's like everything about this administration is infuriating. I mean, watching the Kash Patel thing this week was just they're living an alternate universe than the rest of us, and I don't know which one of us is in the alternate universe. It's so hard to tell now.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's frightening. I turned it on and I had it on and I'm looking at him and I'm watching listening to their questions, and he's completely lying, lying. Or, Trump in the UK yesterday. This is the first time a U.S. president has been inside the palace. Like, no.
Verifiable information.
Yeah.
I don't have it in me to just sit there and listen. I had to sit up and go, what the fuck? Like, like, y'all have to sit here and listen to this because, it blows my mind that they just let him keep living in this alternate universe. Now, maybe because my dad is not well. My dad has not been well for decades. He was in the military, has some, PTSD stuff, and he's not mentally there. And I thought it was just me. Come to find out that my aunts would have to tell friends, hey, he's going to come and tell you this story. It never happened, but just smile and nod. And so that's what the family does when my dad starts telling stories. It's smile and nod. And I don't know if that's what they're doing, is like, just let him tell his story and just
let him do with an old senile man. Just
exactly. Like, he's like, honestly, like, I say this sincerely, how dare he visit Queen Elizabeth's grave when she hated his guts?
Yeah.
honestly, and the fact that he had like a script or whatever in front of him and he still couldn't even read that shit.
He could not. He couldn't even say the words.
Yeah.
They didn't do their job of giving him small words,
Definitely.
one syllable words. He
And-
struggled over it.
Yeah, and like the fact that Kash Patel couldn't like he's okay, I'm not gonna curse or anything. He's a total nut job. And like
Verifiable.
and honestly, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Jasmine Crockett, like I want them to like hit the nail with everything on him. Like they do not hold back.
They're going to eat his lunch.
Jasmine is so great because she's
Yeah.
she's
They're going to
great.
eat his lunch.
You know,
Yeah,
and
like-
they called him out and they said, you know, you are the least qualified person for this position, and he's like, that's a lie. Like, no, literally, you have zero experience. I don't just get to walk into the hospital up the street and go, I'm the new cardiac surgeon.
Mhm.
That would be nice.
I
would be
know
so
that I'm
nice.
a small business owner, you know, but I think I can perform this surgery.
Yeah, like
Definitely.
Yeah. Like,
So did you have another question, Luke? We got to wrap up things here.
Oh, I got you. Holy crap! I'm keeping you 8 minutes behind time.
No worries.
right.
Tab and Missy are like, come on, guys.
like, first of all, it was great talking with you. I'm wishing you the best of luck. I hope you win your race. And like, yeah, if this live was meant for conversations, we'd be on all night.
Seriously, maybe we should have a couple of those. That would be so fun. Mhm.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much, Luke.
Have a good night.
Bye. Hey, Dex. Dex, are you there?
Hi. Sorry.
Ah, there he is.
I was trying to figure out the button.
Hi, friend.
Hi. So,
Hi.
I have just woken up and I'm pre-coffee, so
Oh, so this is
We'll
going to be
see how
great,
this
is what
goes.
you're saying. This is going to be an adventure.
yeah.
I love this for us. I love this for
I-
us.
So, one, I'm not American. Hi.
What?
Yeah, no,
Lucky.
thankfully. So one of the things that I do is, sorry.
We're jealous, by the way.
Super jelly. Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
One of the things that I do is have conversations with Americans about what's going on and everything. One of the questions that I had in previous weeks was, do you feel American? Do you feel like you still live in America? A lot of people said, it was a mix of answers. A lot of people said they don't feel American anymore, or they don't live in America, or some of them still feel like they are American and live in America, but it's slipping away. How can you, like, I guess the question is, like, on the state level, how can you make them feel safe enough to feel like they still matter, that they still live in America, that they are American?
It's a good question. For me here, again, I'm going to go back to, I'm in California, so we're still okay for the most part. We are lucky that we are in this state, but things are still happening here that unfortunately not even our governor can control. You know, being blindsided by, you know, military being brought into LA, things like that. That part of it doesn't feel American for obvious reasons. I can say for me, we don't have American flags at our house. We don't view the American flag as it used to be. I have been, since I was in high school, and learned that you don't have to legally be forced to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I stopped. I had a phenomenal civics teacher. And even in those days, he used to call himself a WASP in those days, and he was a Democrat. So I got to learn a lot from him. And he was probably in his mid to late 60s in the 90s, way ahead of his time. And he made things very clear that you don't yell La Migra as you're passing the strawberry fields, because you just don't do that. We had a proposition that came through that did not pass, where the teachers had to stop and ask the students whether they were citizens or not. He said, we're teachers to teach, not question someone's status. Now jump ahead 30 years and we're back to that. And so back in his classroom, I decided I'm not going to say the Pledge of Allegiance, and I raised my kids the same way. We don't pledge our allegiance to an inanimate object.
Flag. Yeah.
We don't. I'm not, and I am also not Christian. I am not religious at all. I also don't pledge my allegiance to a flag using the word God as well, because there are several different gods, and I find it demeaning to other cultures and other religions as well. So when I see the flag, I don't see it as an American entity or American, what's the word I'm looking for? A symbol. I now see it. Yesterday I'm driving, big truck, big flag, and immediately my heart sank. I was like, oh, it's one of them. I don't associate it with being an American.
It's not a warm, fuzzy feeling. I'm in Texas. I see that all the time.
And it's not. And so when you ask if I feel American, I still feel American here. I still feel safe here for now. The question is going to come up, and Mr. Rice is going to know this, is when it comes time for our new governor to come into place. Because we don't have a solid candidate yet. Now,
because Gavin can't run again, can he?
No, he's done. He's going to run for the White House.
Oh yeah.
I just know he is. He's setting himself up for that. I have an idea of who I might vote for governor, because Mayor Bass put her endorsement in. I went, oh, okay. I could get behind that. But
Katie Porter is running too.
Not that I don't like her, because I think she's very witty. She lacks the charisma to me. She lacks the connection to our state. She lacks that warm fuzz. I don't want to say warm fuzzy, but that there's something just not there. But I love her going with her big board.
Her whiteboard?
Her whiteboard and playing bingo, because the idiots on the other side fall for it and play the dumb game. That's, but as far as feeling American, yes, I'm American here and safe. But when I look at the American flag, I don't get that warm, fuzzy feeling here. We have rainbow flags all around, which is warmer to me.
That gives me more comfort, honestly. So, yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Dex. Do you have another question?
Thank you so much.
Awesome. I appreciate
I mean,
you.
thoughts on macaroni?
It's delicious.
Other than that, no.
Italian pasta night.
We're just going to have a buffet. It's going to be
versatile.
Yeah. It's great. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so
good
much,
luck
sir.
with your
I'm going to
race.
drop you down.
Yes, please. I gotta
Appreciate
go
you.
work.
Go get some coffee. Yes. All right, so let's kind of switch gears a little bit here. I know we're running a little behind schedule, but we've got some amazing information here tonight, and we've done wonderful things to learn about this incredible candidate. If you can go support her, please do, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. But I want to switch gears and bring up a Marine Corps veteran who's going on his 20th school year as a school board member in his local California community. It is 7:20, y'all, and it is time for Activist Alley. Mr. Rice, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I'm not actually at a podium. I have no idea how I did that.
I love it. It's a fabulous look for you. You look very official.
Yeah. I am official.
Yes. Awesome. So what can you tell us about activism in your local area, your little corner of the country?
So right now it's just about everything in any other city or county. The Democrats stay silent, and the Republicans and MAGA they scream at the top of their lungs. Um, so what we do here is um, we get things done quietly, um, but we also have a voice and express that voice. Now I'm in a unique position because I'm blessed enough to be on the school board, so I stay out of the politics. I don't comment. I don't um, give my opinion on politics because there's no room for politics on the school board. It's all about the kids. Um, so if your school board is political, then I urge people to run to make it not political.
That is such
Uh,
great advice.
so and people they always ask me, um, how have you stayed on the school board for so long? And I tell people I keep my mouth shut. You can do a lot of things and accomplish a lot of things on a school board. Now, granted, assembly and other political realms are totally different, um, but you can get it done quietly, and that's what I've had. Um, Built 3 schools, um, implemented the Leader in Me program, capturing kids' hearts. We're the first district in the country, actually the world, to, from what I'm told, to be an Apple Distinguished District. And so we get a lot of things done. And my area is red. Our city council has turned red, but I stay out of it. Um, I just vent to myself, and I come on here and I make jokes and wisecracks and everything. So,
I think
but
that's
run, run for your local office. Run for an irrigation district. Run for a library board. Run for just to run for something. Be on a committee. Be on the grand jury. Uh,
there are so many options to get involved, whether it's your county precinct, whether it's just knocking on doors and volunteering for your favorite candidate, whether it's
yes.
putting your name on your PTA. There's so many things that you can do to get involved, and now is our moment, guys. So I love
Yeah.
that you came up to share that with us. Thank you so much, Mr.
Yeah.
Rice.
And to Rajil, I am 56 years old.
There you go.
57 next month.
All right.
But
See,
I
looks
want
like
to.
he's 40.
Thank you.
But that's a
Well,
really good point.
the key to for youth, to look, youthful is stay single. So
You might be onto something there, friend.
yeah.
You were going to say something, Tanya?
So that's a really good point. That there are other people think when you run for office, like you said earlier, it's the big seats. It's your Congress, your congressional seats. But there's your water district. Those have to be.
Hmm.
Those are elected seats as well. There's so
Yes.
many different. And the funny thing, and your water bills come from the water folks that have been in those seats for 20, 30 years because nobody thinks to run for those seats.
Yep.
And so
Yeah. Yeah.
we have a couple grassroots candidates. There's so many here in Orange County that are running for the first time ever. I'm not alone in that. We have a lot of candidates that are running for the first time ever that they called this meet and greet so all of his candidates could actually meet each other and get to talking.
Hmm.
And a lot of them haven't even started their filing of their paperwork yet. And so, but there's a lot of new folks, and there's a couple running for these little tiny seats that you don't think about.
Yeah.
But the seats that are important as well, because you're complaining about your water bill. We'll do something.
Do something about it.
Yeah. That's true. Here in the valley, when you run for water district, basically you're running for the district that supplies the waters to the farmers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what Trump did a few months ago was just, it was crazy. Wasted a lot of water in the valley. So we're kind of hurting right now.
Is that
I
because you
just turned on the valve.
You turned on the faucet, right, from up north, and it just flowed all
flowed
over
down.
down.
He turned on the faucet from where I live. There's two lakes, and they released all the water, and all it did, it just ran all the way to the foothills and just stayed in the Tule Lake Basin area that used to be a lake.
The whole mentality, I don't know if he really thinks that California literally looks like it on the map on the wall, and you turn the valve on, and the water
And
just
gravity,
flows
just
down.
down. Yeah.
And
I mean,
right
he tried to
before-
change the path of a hurricane with a Sharpie, so
He
I'm
did.
really not
Yeah.
putting anything past him at this point. So
And then when my best friend goes hiking, I always tell her, make sure you take your rake so you can rake the forest. It's just
So with the school stuff, if you don't mind, I like to clear up a lot of things that people have a misconception about especially with the other party. Like they're always saying, bring back prayer in school. Prayer has always been in school. A student is allowed to pray as long as it doesn't interrupt instructional time, and the school district has to accommodate that student within a safe reason. Now, we can't have a fire on the for tribal and all that, everything like that. So, but we accommodate. So during recess or on their own time, the Pledge of Allegiance every morning. Every morning, the Pledge of Allegiance is said in every classroom.
And you don't have to say it. That's the other.
You don't have to say it. Students have rights, just like with the identifying. Students have as much rights as the parents. So our number one goal is to protect those students, because the reason, and a staff cannot initiate anything. They can't initiate that. They're not teaching it. So that's the misconception. They're talking about books being banned. There's no books being banned. They're in the library. With my district, you are not going to let a third grader check out an 8th grade book. Now, on the controversial books, that requires a parent permission slip. If we go with the SCX education, the students get a general biology, just a general biology class. Now, there is that class. That's in high school.
Yeah.
When that class goes more in depth, the parents have to sign a permission slip for that student to take that class. So there's a lot of misconceptions.
Well, you might agree with me on this. Here in California, we have that protection. There's other states that don't. Now, I kind of want to counter one thing. The only reason I want to go here is Huntington Beach is a completely different entity in itself. Again, city councils are supposed to be nonpartisan. That city council refers to themselves as the MAGA 7, I think they are, the MAGA 5, but they literally call themselves that. There's not a single Democrat on their city council, and they have gone and with their school district, again, their school district is also Moms for Liberty, they have managed to ban books in Huntington.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Democrats that are running. I'm going to throw it out there. Chris Cluey, the former NHL player, is running in that district. And I
love him.
Good.
He is a phenomenal human being, really down to earth, extremely intelligent, well-spoken, and he deeply, deeply cares about his city. And so I have, I support him on that completely. But he's running against 3 other Democrats, and in my opinion, why? Why? I know it's just the primaries, but you're still kind of splitting votes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But he's capable of handling the job. And if somebody stepped up to run against me, and I knew that they were going to be a better candidate for the community, I would step back and endorse them, because that's what we have to do to support each other. Because our party is already split, and we keep splitting and we keep splitting. The other side is completely together, especially after last week's incident. They're even tighter, and we fight on our side over nitpicking, over like how you responded to this situation, how you responded
Purity
to this.
politics.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
infuriating, and we
And
have to stand together and fight together.
so with the school board, actually the school board is held to a higher standard than any other office, the elected office. Um, we are subject to the Brown versus the Board of Education, which is the Brown Act. We have to take an ethics 2-hour course every 2 years. We cannot disclose what is talked about in closed session. That is a misdemeanor in California, and if it's serious enough, you can go to jail for it. And
I didn't know that.
we cannot have a serial meeting or a serial text or a serial phone call. So which that means is that I go and say something to a board member about a particular thing. I can't go and tell the other board member that either. I can't, so we're subject to that. But we're the only elected office that I know of that are held to that higher standard. That's why I get frustrated. That's the bills they need to pass. That's the legislation. So if you get elected, that's what the assembly needs to do, because you always know how someone's going to vote. If you know how a school board member is going to vote, then they're not doing their job.
Right.
That's
They're
right.
being too transparent in that way. So no one ever knows how I'm going to vote. I don't
think
talk
that's
about
great.
closed sessions or anything.
Well, on that, like we talked about democracy earlier, is our current congressional folks up there are voting by the way that they're told to vote, and that is not a democracy. That in any way, when they're told from their higher ups, oh, you must vote on this way, and that goes on both sides, because I can
Yeah.
tell you it happens on the other side, that they'll vote and then Mike Johnson calls them into the office, they get Trump on the phone, they go back out and they revote. That is not a democracy in any
That's
way.
not how it's supposed to work.
That's not how it works. You are elected by us to go and give our representation and vote in the best interest of us,
Of the
not your
people.
personal, not your
Right.
personal, or what your friends are telling you to vote for, or what your APACs are telling you to vote for. You are supposed to represent your district that you come from, and it's not happening. It hasn't happened, but
For
it's
a very
becoming
long time.
more obvious.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's absolutely disgusting, and it's embarrassing, and they should be ashamed of themselves for being told how to vote.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me
I
either.
think Sue has a question in the comment.
How do you accommodate a child in elementary level with a reading level 3 grades above?
So so they do an assessment, and if they truly are 3 grades above, then they'd be in the like an AVID program, accelerated reader program, which they will be pulled out of their classroom and go into a higher level. And if that student is consistently testing high in all the subjects, they won't move them up a grade. That rarely happens anymore unless you're just a downright genius, those prodigies. But they will accommodate that child's work. So they will give them more difficult things to read, but appropriate for that emotional age.
Yeah.
So they will find books to stimulate their learning process.
Awesome.
like for here, like the elementary level, probably the elementary level is a little bit different, and Mr. Rice might agree with me. So like if you've got a kid, like my kids were a little bit ahead of the game. Like my son's got an IQ of 165. He stayed in his same grade, but when there was the opportunity to do a like 4th, 5th combo, and he's in 4th grade, they would put him in that 4th, 5th combo because he gets
Yes.
more
Yeah.
of the 5th grade, but my
That's what
kids were on the AR books too, and all of my kids read years beyond. But again, that's because of the AR system here. I don't
That's
know
what
if
they
all-
did with my son too.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to have you guys back to continue this conversation. It is so important to have. But if I don't get the off here so Tab and Missy can go live, they're going to find me and tar and feather me. So as much as I would love to continue this conversation, you two are amazing. Let's
Thank you.
definitely have you guys come back, okay? Thank you so
Sure,
much, Mr.
anytime.
Rice, for coming up and talking to us about running on the school board. Please, 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 if you are interested in running for a local office, go for these local seats.
Yeah.
They're definitely
And,
needed, and
and they're
they're
usually free.
attainable. Yeah,
And the running for a school board doesn't cost you any money in
definitely.
my county.
Yeah.
And I think that's fantastic because running for any office right now is just astronomical. And we'll get to that in a second, Tanya. So
Sure.
thank you so much, Mr. Rice. I really, really
Thank you.
appreciate you. Thank you
Oh,
for
you're
coming
welcome.
up. I'm going to go ahead and drop you now, okay?
Thank you. Have a good.
Thank you. Okay, so we are getting like way past time here, folks. I'm so sorry for keeping all of you, but thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Before we go, Tanya, if you could tell the folks really quickly how they can get involved in your campaign and how they can support you in your run.
So in my bio, there's a link to my link tree with my Act Blue, which is where you can donate. We need money, money, money. There's also an Amazon wish list in there because our campaign can use everything. So there's a good, nice wish list in there. And then the link to my website where you can sign up for newsletters. Sign up for newsletters and sign up to volunteer because we always need volunteers. Whether you're sorry,
It's okay.
they're speaking their mind. Whether you're local or not, you can still volunteer because we still need phone banking. Once we get closer, only because I'm still the only candidate running, we're still sitting back just a little bit, but I still have to raise $650,000.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And we've raised $1,200, but we've had things that have come up that we're sitting at I think 800 in the account. But in order to do things, to do these events, these meet and greets, and to get shirts for the campaign, we have to have the money to do that.
Coffers.
Money.
Yep.
We have to cover these things. So yes, if you could please click on the link in my bio, that'll take you to my link tree with my Act Blue. Please, please, please donate $1 at least, something. It goes a long way. It goes a very long way because we have email addresses, we have the bank there, or PO box that we have to get because I'm going to dox myself, but everything here goes to my house. And we are living in very dangerous times that I need to get the campaign.
Yes, please do that.
So, even that's $113 for 6 months. So
Yeah.
any little bit helps for the campaign.
Awesome. Thank you. And just a reminder, folks, big money in politics has absolutely ruined our country. We're no longer interested in candidates who are only serving the corporations. We want candidates who are not funded by AIPAC and other special interests. We want candidates who are going to serve the people, who care about people. But that money has to come from somewhere. So whether it's your wallet or your time, just make sure that you're doing everything in your power to help these grassroots candidates, even just following them and sharing their content and commenting on their posts. All of that is stuff you can do for free. So, and that helps pushes them out to more eyeballs. So the time for change is now, and we have to work together. So I hope that pretty much covers it, Tanya. Don't you think?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Sorry we
Awesome.
went way over.
Oh, no, that's totally fine. It's been such a great conversation, and it's been educational, and everybody in here has been so super fantastic. I would be absolutely remiss if I did not send a special thank you to all of my incredible mods. I'm looking at you, Naomers, Kayla, Regil. You guys are incredible. All the content creators who are here supporting us tonight. And Kayla, our design genie, just send them some love in the comments, guys. They're amazing. If you could also send us some love to Tanya, who is an amazing candidate running for assembly in California. Very well deserved. Make sure you are registered to vote. Keep an eye on your election schedules in your area because they're doing some hanky stuff, especially in Texas, guys. Check your voter registration status by going to vote.gov. This
one thing.
Yes.
In my link tree, there's also where you can register to vote. There's a link
Yes.
to register to vote.
Thank you for adding that in there. There's not very many candidates who think to put that in there, but that is so, so, so important. National Voter Registration Day was on Tuesday, I believe. So, yeah, we're definitely in the season now, and it's very important to go and check that out. This was so, so, so inspiring, and I know that we have a lot of folks out there who are very, very scared right now, but I want to remind everyone that the fear is the point. Fear leads to panic, panic leads to inaction, but hope and community are the antidote for all of it. Tune in on Monday when we have an amazing candidate, an amazing young candidate from Washington running for city council in her area who is inspired to act. I can't wait to talk to Riley Reid. It's going to be so amazing, and I hope you all will join us on Monday. Be sure you follow us on Substack, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the tube of you. Follow thepeoplesickday.com to throw a wrench in this bish, please.